Do I really need to learn music theory in order to sing better? Not if you already sound perfect and know all the music there is, but if you've ever wanted to sing in better tune, sound great, and learn music easily, join me to learn movable do solfège. Hi, I'm Dan Ingalls. Welcome to Dan's Solfège Trainer. This is exercise 1B, How to Sing Anything, where we'll cover the basic music theory singers need most. After 1B, you'll know how to sing, play, spell, and plant in your ear a major scale. There is also a Dan's Solfège Trainer book in PDF form that goes with the video series. All of it is free. You can find the book as well as the chapter links to navigate around the video in the description below. I'm about to teach you some music theory and show you some notation. For some of you, I know it's not the first time you may have tried to learn it. This topic can seem scary. I work hard to keep the music theory content simple, provide steps that give you access to it, and stay focused on what singers need most. Most novices will absorb the information by ear first, and later connect it to the notation. And if that's you, this is normal and fine. If music notation isn't making sense to you yet, then I encourage you to pay attention to the concrete musical experiences you can have instead with the information that I'm about to show you. As much as I personally am a big fan of music notation, the staff can come later. Right now, let's sing a major scale, and then we'll talk about what we sang. Ready? Go. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Take a breath. Coming down. Do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Okay, now, from the very top, what is a scale? A scale is a collection of notes, usually arranged from low to high. On the piano, we see the entire Western scale, which is 12 notes, 7 white keys, 5 black keys, repeating over and over again. Starting from A, we have A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and the 13th note is A again. This entire collection of notes is called the Western scale, the chromatic scale, or the 12-tone scale. It's the scale system used by Western orchestras and choirs, modern Western instruments of all kinds like pianos, guitars, violins, and so on, almost any music produced on a computer, almost everywhere in the world. It's about as widespread as all the European languages combined. So very, very few people in the world would be completely unfamiliar with this scale. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? That's for another video. Now, you know a scale is a collection of notes, so what makes this scale we just sang a major scale? We can define the major scale as a subset of the 12-tone chromatic scale. And to show you which ones form the major scale, I have to show you whole steps and half steps. So here I am on a C. Follow this with me. I will move up exactly one key of any color. Where am I going? Not skipping even a part of any key. This is a half step, or a semitone. And to move up a whole step, or a whole tone, I would move exactly 2 keys of any color, skipping precisely 1 key. Moving by half steps, moving by whole steps, that means that from C, the next white key up is a whole step away, while the next white key down is a half step away. Or from a black key, this is B, so this is B flat, moving a whole step or 2 half steps up would take us to a white key, C, while moving a whole step down would take us to another black key, A flat. So half steps are the minimum counting unit, and a whole step is 2 of them. Now I can tell you a major scale is 7 notes separated mostly by whole steps except with half steps between 3 and 4 and between 7 and 8. And another way to say that is this formula. I'll start from A. A, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. And we have a mnemonic device for this. A, we walk home when we walk home. Or, coming back down, the sentence would work as, hi A, home we walk. When, home, we walk. Remember that we don't say one of these words on the starting note. We say A or whatever note we're on instead, because the starting note is kind of like 0. We have no movement to describe yet since we're on the starting note. For coming down, you can also use Howard will wear what Howard will wear. I know you probably appreciate my original mnemonic device. You're welcome. So now you just follow this starting from A. And there's a special name for the location of the first note, or where the scale is anchored. When we start our major scale from A, we say we're in the key of A major. And A is called the tonic, or the one, or the keynote, or the naming note. And we need short names for while we sing. We can't say tonic or keynote or naming note. So in movable do solfège, we call this do. Do is the keynote. Now I'll show you the same thing, but in the key of C. So now C is do. See if you can tell why people think of C as the easiest key. We walk home when we walk home. Howard will wear what Howard will wear. As you can easily see, playing the major scale from C involves no black keys. It happens that all the whole steps and half steps fall in just this pattern. And that's true for only this one starting note out of all the 12 notes you could possibly start the scale from. Since you know the pattern, you can apply it from any starting note. In other words, you can play a major scale from any key. It's pretty easy to apply this formula one whole step or half step at a time. And hey, now that you know the difference between a note that belongs to your scale and a note that doesn't, you deserve a nice $5 word. A note that belongs to your scale is diatonic to that scale. And a note that doesn't is called a chromatic note, because after all, it's still part of the underlying scale, the Western 12-tone or chromatic scale. We might use these non-diatonic chromatic pitches in a song, they're just less expected. They will feel less normal and more colorful. So as you take this formula into different keys, you will run into a spelling question. F sharp or G? F sharp or G? F sharp or G? F sharp or G? That question means, in the current context, do we refer to a certain black key as the note higher than this white key, a sharp, or the note lower than this white key, a flat? To answer this spelling question, there's a convention. You see, our naming system has 7 letters. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So just as our system has 7 letters, we also have 7 basic syllables of the solfège system, and, not coincidentally, 7 scale degrees in any major or minor scale. A scale degree is simply a note in your scale. For better or worse, our system is really built to privilege the major and minor scales, especially the major scale. So these scales will feel intuitive when you use one letter for each scale degree. And that's the convention. A major or minor scale will use all 7 letter names in order, and it will use each one and only one time. This means any 2 consecutive scale degrees will always have consecutive letters. You'll never skip a letter in a major or minor scale, and you'll never repeat a letter. Let's do a couple so that you get comfortable with spelling them. We're going to spell the E major scale. So here's the formula again. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. We're going to start on E, that's 1, or do. And then you can easily find a whole step above that. That's 2 half steps moving exactly 2 keys of any color. Now, because of the rule, spelling a major scale by using each letter name in order, once and only once, since it's after an E, we know we need to call this black key by the letter name F. And we figure out how to do that using sharps, flats, or naturals. E was do, or scale degree 1. F sharp is re, or scale degree 2. Do, re. And if you can follow that, then you can do this. So after F sharp, that was the first whole step, we have another whole step. We know it has to be spelled as a G something, either G flat, G natural, or G sharp, and one whole step takes us to this black key. So we spell it G sharp. G sharp is mi, or scale degree 3. Do, re, mi. Okay, Remember when we were doing the scale, some of the syllables were orange? Well, we've come to our first half step in the scale. There are 2 between mi and fa, or 3 and 4, and between ti and do, or 7 and 8. All the other scale degrees in the major scale are separated by whole steps. From mi to fa, we have a half step, and we just used the letter name G, so our something called A is going to be a white key, an A natural. Do, re, mi, fa. And we just repeat this process to finish the formula. A, or 4, or fa, plus a whole step is B, or 5, or so. Add another whole step, C sharp, or 6, or la. One more whole step, D sharp, or 7, or T. We have to call it a D sharp because it immediately follows a note called C. This was a C sharp. The next letter name is D, so we have to use D sharp instead of using E flat to name this note. And besides, we already have an E in this key, so E, D sharp. And then finally, that second half step in the scale, the one between T and do, takes us to E again, or 8. Sometimes we call it 8, sometimes we reset and call it 1 again. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. Okay, in a moment we'll build the scale in a flat key as well for practice. But first, let me show you something on the next level that you're ready for now. I'm going to turn this E major scale into a written summary, which we call a key signature. These 2 scales are exactly the same. So remember how I mentioned that there was only one key that produced a major scale with no sharps and no flats, and that was C major? There's also one and only one major scale for every number of sharps from 0 to 7 and every number of flats from 0 to 7. So there is one and only one major scale that has these 4 sharps. So if you received a set of instructions to find a major scale that had exactly these sharps and no others, the most it could possibly take you would be 12 tries before you figured out which one it was. Very soon in Dan's Solfège Trainer at exercise 2B, the major key signature song, we'll talk about the very simple rules that make it really easy to identify a major key from a key signature. All I need you to know right now is that these 4 sharps are right here in this key signature for E major. They are F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. And this key signature is a set of instructions that when you learn how to decode it, it will lead you to the one major key that it can spell. Okay, as promised, let's also do one major key that starts on a black note. This is not scary, it's not even more complex, we just use the formula. B flat major will be 1, B flat, do, whole step to 2, C, re, whole step to 3, D, mi. Now, can you name this note? It's a half step up, it's 4, it's fa, but is it a D sharp or an E flat? Well, mi, or 3, was a D. So we have to use the next letter name. We call this E something, and in this case it's a half step lower than E the white key. So this is E flat. And we're off again, whole step to 5, F, so, whole step to 6, G, la, whole step to 7, A, T, and one last half step to 8, or B flat, do. More on this in exercise 2B, but what key signatures do for singers is incredible. They make instrumentalists play the right music. Many of us gravitate toward the major scale. It's not universal throughout the world, but it is very common. And once we learn it, we usually find it to be at least a comfortable home, if not our main comfortable home. What a key signature does is it allows you to play your do somewhere, find where your do is on the staff, and just forget about it. You just sing up and down the major scale from there. As a singer, if you know your next note is la, finding your la usually doesn't even require that you know whether la is sharp or flat or natural in this key, but that information is there when you need it. As long as you aren't seeing any accidentals in the music, any sharps or flats that aren't in the key signature, then you know your note is part of the scale that you're singing. It's either do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, or ti, so it won't be all that unusual. All right. Before I kick you out into the cold, cruel world, I want to equip you with a way to make do stable in your ear. This is known as an incipit or incipit, which is what they used to call the little opening line that one monk would sing so the other monks could figure out what page they were on. For a few months as you're starting out, I recommend that you use this every time you start a song or an exercise. I know it wastes 4 seconds of your life, but make it a habit. I promise it will pay for itself. So whenever we take a pitch, here's what we sing. Do, mi, so, do. Now you try it. Do, mi, so, do. Okay, now do it here. Ready? Go. Do, mi, so, do. Do, mi, so, do. And wherever you are, this establishes in your ear the key center, the do, that you will come back to. We'll use this throughout Dan's Solfège Trainer. I use it with all my choirs, and invariably in just a few weeks they always stop rolling their eyes because they know they're finding their new key very quickly, and they all sound great with no stress, and that's what I want for you. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, F, G, E. I learned my alphabet. Most of Dan's Solfège Trainer is exercises designed to help you learn as you sing. So start singing the exercises as soon as you're ready, but come back here for a reference anytime. If you're on the newer side or you have no idea how a staff works, here's a good place to brush up on that. It might make more sense now that you know what a scale is. But again, if it doesn't make sense to you yet, no problem, keep racking up those musical experiences. And here's another lovely presentation of the content we've just done. Since it's early in the series, save this playlist. You can practice the major scale with my daughter and me in 1A practice. If you want, you can cover minor scales in 1C, what on earth is a minor scale, but especially if you're new to Dan's Solfège Trainer, as soon as you're ready, I recommend starting 2A, spinning endless spinning. I'll see you there. Thanks for doing solfège with me. Have a great practice.